So I'm thrilled to discuss some critical insights that will shape the future of the quality assurance today in this session. So today's session is all about exploring the evolving landscape of the all the organization, how QA is evolving in all the categories and all the areas. Right. So throughout we will be deep dive into the core challenges that many organizations are facing today. More importantly, we will explore how we can overcome these hurdles with the right tool selection and the right strategies. More importantly, we are going to explore how we can basically use innovative solutions like Katalon, which can help the business to stay ahead of the curve. Okay. I'll be guiding you today throughout the discussion, along with our expert speaker, who will be sharing valuable insights on the different topics as well. So let's dive into and get started. I hope you can see my screen. So before we go deeper, I would like to introduce to our speakers myself, Pankaj Yadav, who is the senior automation lead from Skill Question Group, and we have Mahtab Siddique, senior solution architect, brings a wealth of the experience in test automation, specifically with the AI capabilities of Katalon. All right. So let's have a quick view for the agenda, what we are going to have today. So basically, we will be having one introductory session about skill Quotient and Katalon, and then what is the QA industry context, what are the issues we are facing, what are the challenges that we are facing in today's industry, and Katalon solution, what Katalon is going to provide you, and some QA, SQQA success stories and the services. And these are the activities that we are going to perform. So starts with the 5 minutes introduction, for 10 minutes for the QA industry context, and then 30 minutes for the Catalan solution and demonstration of the AI capabilities. And 5 minutes at the end, how QA support, how SQ, School Question Group, supports your success. And at the end, questions and answers. So for this session, you can keep your questions with you. Even though during the session you have any question, you can put in the chat, and then our experts will be there to answer your questions immediately, or maybe during the session of question and answer. So you can keep on posting your questions if you have any doubt. All right. So let's quickly start with what we are. So I'm representing School Quotient here, and School Quotient is the leading independent AI-driven quality assurance organizations, and we are having our global presence basically in APAC, Europe, and Middle East, US. Headquarters is in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and we are certified with ISO and CMMI level as well. And we have our strong workforce with 350 plus QA specialists and 35 plus expert certified, which are working across all the clients and all the countries. We have our 9 years of craft where we are delivering our solutions, especially in the quality side. And we have a zero production rollback success. Basically, this is what we can say, that this is our USP, that the testing services we have provided and we have not received any major impact on the production cycle. And along with it, we have like 40 plus clients which are leveraging on our automation expertise. So yeah, so this is all about the Skill Question Group that we are gathered here along with me, because Mahtab is there from Katalon side. So he will be showing some insights of the Katalon, what is the Katalon tool and all those things. So before that, we are going to discuss a little bit what is going on in the real world. So from the experience that we have received now, that 60% of our clients, basically, they are saying that they are using the outdated tools, or they are going with the manual testing strategies, which are basically stopping them growing in today's, because the fast paced economy is going too ahead. And when it comes to the quality and the testing side, we are still little bit far behind on that. So because of that, many things we are not able to explore, and many organizations, they are having a pressure to modernize, but the major problem is they don't know where to begin with. They know that, okay, I know I need to do some testing, I need to do some automation, but from where they need to start? That's the main objective here, that we are going to showcase you, and hopefully we'll be able to answer your all the questions and your queries. So majorly, if you are talking about what are the challenges which are holding back QAs. So the very first is the legacy system limitation. So still there are some organizations specifically into DFSI module, basically banking, finance, insurance domain sectors. So there what is happening is like they are using the outdated automation tools, and the capabilities where they are not able to move ahead and they are not competitive enough in the market, right? So because like currently we know that there are many AI capabilities are going on, and then everywhere is AI is boosting, and still you are using the outdated tool, which is not allowing organization to grow. Second is rising cost of the basically the QA cost, specifically on the resources side. Sometimes the resources outrage is there, budget constraints are there. Because of that, they are not able to onboard the specific tool into their organization. So you are looking for something which can you can pay a little bit, but you can get more basically in the ROI basis. Then some regulatory complexity, like some organization in Malaysia and Singapore, they follow the PDPA acts, where personal data protection acts. So where there's another layer of the testing that's required for the basically for following the compliance, and especially in the banking and e-commerce sectors. The major problem which I have faced personally is the speed versus the quality dilemma. So sometimes it's very difficult when this aggressive development is going on, and you need to develop some automation scripts, or you need to, even though to do that manual testing itself is getting difficult, because you the organization are not able to balance that, how the development pace should be there, how the testing pace should be there. Sometimes the manual testing is equivalent, but sometimes it is very behind. So these are the challenges, major challenges, I would say, currently we are facing in the industries. There are many more small challenges and all things, so that is still in the market, but these are the major four that we want to address today. And if we see the impact by the numbers, so if we ask like our 10 clients, what are your challenges? So basically the 60, basically the 6 out of 10 will be saying that our innovations are blocked because your tools are not even capable enough to explore the other AI capabilities, or not even AI, like how to mark up in the market and industries, right? So because of that, they are not able to think innovatively what extra they can do. For example, you are doing web automation, web testing, and some tools are restricted to web automation only, and then they are only limited to towards that scope. What if you introduce the API testing? What if you introduce the database testing? And by doing that, you are having a 3 layers of testing there. And with the help of that, you can imagine the how quality of the product will be there at the end. Secondly, four people are saying that they have a budget pressure, they don't have the resources, and the especially in the what we are working in Malaysia and Singapore market very closely, we are saying that the cost of the testing and basically testing and tools are coming as like a very challenging part for them. Some time lost because many organizations are still using the manual testing. They're leveraging their maximum weightage of QA into the manual side. Because of that, the timing, they're not able to deliver things on the time. Sometimes uncooked product, half cooked product are coming into the market, and we end up with some production issues and all those things. So now, what is the solution for these challenges, what we are facing now in industry? So for that, we have some innovative tool like Katalon. So introducing the Katalon, I would like to hand over to Mr. Mahtab to go ahead with the Katalon capabilities and other things, please.
Thank you, Pankaj. Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. Uh, Thank you for joining the session today. I'm Mahtab Siddique. I'm a senior solutions architect at Katalon. I do work with partners globally across the Katalon. I do help them out to enable them about the different tools of Katalon in case they are having any technical challenges or they want to learn about it. In all the aspect, I will be a contact person when you can reach me anytime throughout the email. Uh, Today we are going to discuss about. Let me share my screen first. 1 second.
Yes, please, Mahtab, go ahead.
Yeah, so today we are going to talk about our testing journey. I mean, how Catalan can help you to simplify your testing experience with the help of a lot of AI capabilities, and how you can leverage the Catalan, the different component of Catalan, in different aspect in different phases in software testing lifecycle. So before that, let me give you a quick brief about Catalan. So Catalan is founded by our CEO, Ulam. It was launched in 2016. That time there was a free version, and then we have launched our first commercial enterprise on 2019. We have a good projects globally, including US, Europe, Middle East, and Asia, and we have approx 2,000 plus customers worldwide. So if you think about the testing, when I say testing, it's a mix of manual and automation. Doesn't matter what mode you are using basically to do testing of any particular application, especially in web or mobile or API or even a desktop application, right? And there could be a different aspect, it depends on the situation and project need. So let's divide the complete end-to-end life cycle in 4 different phases. The first phase is the planning. So, for any application, a lot of different teams are getting involved, including the development team, business team, a scrum team, and the testing team. Each and every team are basically making their own plan that how they are going to execute to make the project successful. In the similar way, testing team also making their own plan. They are also planning that what are the different module in the application, what are different capabilities, how they're going to test it, what are the different scenarios, failure cases, and everything. So that you will have all those plans ready so that you can execute during your testing period. So the first phase is the planning, where you do plan and you use some kind of tool called Excel, maybe Zira, or maybe X-ray or ADO or GitLab or similar tool, right? Where you can make different sprint and releases. You can create your task, your stories and chunks, codes, and that you will follow later on. Now, once you're done with the planning, you basically do the creation part, right? Whatever you have done, you will make the creation accordingly. Creation means you will write the test cases, whether it is manual or whether it is automation, just to fulfill all the scenario that is written inside the planning. And after that, you will execute, all those creation that we have done. That is the third phase. And after execution, you will have a lot of data. So in case if you have the menu automation mode and you have written thousands of test cases and you are executing it twice in a day, right? And you might have hundred thousands of execution result. So the fourth phase is the analytics, where you will analyze the result, the outcome, that what are the different KPIs in your, in your test result. What are the rate of flakiness? What are the rate of failures? Where the application is not that much mature, where improvement is needed. All those KPIs and factors you have to, analyze and see. And accordingly, you will just, recreate the cycle: planning, creation, execution, and analysis. Now, if you see the current era, you're using a different tool to fulfill all these aspects. So when you're making a plan, maybe you're using some XYZ tool, and then you have to follow that tool separately. You are updating all the status and all, right? Just to keep everyone in different team to up to date, right? And you're using different tool for the creation part. So for example, you're using Selenium, Katalon, XYZ tool to make the automation script. And for execution purpose, maybe you could have a different runtime environment to execute your script. And fourth phase, there are different ways to do it. Either you are using some third-party analytics tool, or maybe you're doing it manually by yourself while looking into the Excel file or the different outcomes, execution reports, debug log, and all that. It's very difficult to learn a lot of tools, maintaining all of them, relating all of them, especially when you are maintaining some project. So if you are working on some big enterprise level applications and you have thousands of test cases and you're gradually increasing it day by day, it's quite difficult to maintain the history, right? So it's very complicated, right? To using of various tools and different tools in the market. Now let's talk about Katalon. Katalon is not just a tool; it's an ecosystem. It provides a lot of different components that fulfill all the aspects of different phases of it, right? So we are going to talk about our core offering, and we'll see that what are the different components which are going to fulfill all the aspect of all these 3 different phases. So the first Catalan component is Catalan Studio. It is basically authoring tool, right? It provides your capability to author any particular use case, whether it is web, mobile, API, or desktop. It means the Catalan Studio is all in one platform for the automation testing, right? And you can use a various AI capability into it. For example, if you're doing automation testing of your web applications, right? And you normally see that it happens whenever you're working on web application, you are getting, frequently released from the development team. And every time there is a possibility that, your existing test cases may get hampered because of the recent changes in the existing applications. So, and every time you have to go and fix those errors, you have to identify what have been broken, what fix is required, right? That's a very difficult process. So maintenance is a big button, basically, I would say. There is self-healing capability, AI-based, that automatically identify all those broken objects and all the broken elements and automatically get fixed by artificial intelligence in Catalan Studio. So you don't need to maintain your project, your automation script that we have already created until unless the application is totally changed. So for example, there was, when you have written your automation script for any particular page which has a couple of component, and now development team has totally changed that application. Of course, you have to rewrite it. Catalan Studio will also help you out with the help of AI capability that you will see. Now, let me take it to Katalon Studio. So this is Katalon Studio. You can see in left-hand side, there is a lot of different folders. Each folder have different artifacts where you can maintain your artifacts. For example, your test cases, your object repository, your test suites, your test data even, right? And it provides you a capability to connect to different sources, whether it is Excel, CSV, or real-time database, any RDBMS, including the RDS, the cloud-based solution. Or you can also create your own data within your Catalan Studio to perform the data-driven testing, right? So it's very helpful. Now there is a Studio Assist, a very interesting AI capability in Catalan Studio. So as we know that when you're working on any particular project, right, usually we face problem, right? Because each application could have a different scenarios. So let me give you one scenario. So your application aspect is you need to connect to AWS S3 server. You have to validate some document. And after that, once it get validated, you have to connect to AWS RDS database. You have to validate some data. And after that, you have to call some web application to fulfill, some scenario. And finally, you will complete with your test case. But you don't know that how to connect to AWS S3 or RDS. What are the different classes and keywords within the Catalan Studio that can help you out? Studio Assist will help you out. You can simply chat with the Studio, and Studio Assist will give you a very comprehensive detail along with a simple code that you can just copy and paste in your application, and you can just go on. It has also agent mode. It means it has MCP capability, right? So Catalan having its own MCP server for different aspect. So for example, if you want to create automation script, but you don't want to record it, you want to create it through artificial intelligence, and you have the details of it. You can just simply pass those details to Studio Assist, and it will generate automation script for you, right? And you can also basically add your MCP server here. So if you have a look into it, this is the existing MCP capability of Catalan Studio, where you can create test cases, update any existing test cases as per the changes happening, through development team, and a various capability. In the similar way, suppose if you're working for any particular customer and that customer is having their own AI services and their MCP server, and they want you to consume that, Catalan Studio gives you that capability. You can simply add the MCP server here and you can utilize their capability, right? So it is very model agnostic. When I say model agnostic, it means uh, it is not, a closed system. By default, Catalan has integration with OpenAI, right? And we do use GPT model, GPT-5. But it gives you capability that you can connect to any frontier model such as Gemini, Azure, or even AWS Bedrock. But in case if your customer has a need, maybe you have a need that you want to use your in-house model, and you don't want to go for the frontier model, and you want to deploy some AI model within the infrastructure, you can also do that. You can deploy your in-house AWS, or maybe sorry, any in-house model such as Gemma or GPT OSS, right? Or maybe Olama, and you can use that as well with the help of OpenAI compatible provider. And you can just configure your model details over here, and you can just start using it. It means you can train your model as per your need. You can train your model project specific. So if you're using any a specific application, for example, maybe there is some custom ERP solution, and that has a different module, different use cases and all. Even you can train your model by yourself, and you can use that model in Katalon Studio, to simplify your later journey. Now let's talk further. So when you're ready with your script through Katalon Studio, now there is a need to execute that. An execution could have a different mode, different way. You may execute that in one standalone machine. Maybe you can set up a cluster of 5 different machines to perform the parallel execution. Or maybe you can go with some CI/CD pipeline, whether in-house or maybe AWS CI/CD or ADO, Circle CI, GitLab. There is a lot of Katalon runtime engine is compatible with all the industry-specific CI/CD platform. So Katalon runtime engine is another component that helps you to execute your test cases in different ways as per your need. It supports Mac, Windows, Linux, all the operating system, and you can set up it in any CI/CD platform. As I said, after execution, all the result will fall back to your Katalon platform. So whenever execution is happened on it's done, you will be able to see all the result that what's happened while execution is done. The next component is test cloud. So execution could have a two way, right? Either you can execute by yourself while configuring CI/CD or any specific machine or something like that. You can go with runtime engine, or if you want to use cloud-based execution, suppose if you have one mobile application and you want to test your mobile application, maybe in 5 different Android operating system, right, with 10 different brands like Samsung, Vivo, and all, it's quite difficult to maintain such a hundreds number of combinations within in-house. You can use Katalon Test Cloud and you can utilize them. Test Cloud provides you a lot of tons of physical devices to perform the testing. So you can test it over the cloud, and after testing, your result will fall down to your Katalon Studio. So it's very easy. Now let's talk about the next component, Katalon Test Ops. So Test Ops is basically it's a Katalon orchestration system. So as I say, we have different phases, right? So the last phase is the analytics, because we have already done with creation and execution. So test ops providing you different capability to maintain or manage your test cases. It helps you to maintain your test life cycle and analyze your test cases. So it provides you analytics dashboard, reports, where you can navigate through different KPIs, and it also gives you a capability to connect to different industry tools such as Jira, LM tool, X-ray, or ADO, or maybe any CI/CD pipeline or notification system, or your Bit repository, right? Or maybe Bitbucket repository, where you just need to put your automation script so that you can access that in any different environment while execution. So now we are going to talk about next component, True Test. True Test is our newly launched product. It's AI augmented solution. It is fully AI based product, right? So you no need to record or write even a single line of code by yourself. Everything will be done by artificial intelligence. We'll discuss about it a little more, and then we will have a look into it, at how it looks like, how it works, what it generates, and how it helps you to simplify your testing journey, right? So let's think, in these days, what happens? Either you have to identify all the test cases and scenarios in your application, and accordingly you create test cases and record them by yourself, and you have to maintain them by yourself, right? So the maintenance is a big burden, right? So let's talk about 4 different major problem that we have, and how True Test is basically solving those 4 major problems in the industry. So the first is the automation lag. As we are living in the agile era, and the development is not following the traditional way, right? That you will receive the build maybe in 6 months or 1 year. In agile methodology, basically you receive every sprint in not more than 15 days, basically within the 15 days itself. So where you have received the first sprint from the development team, and when you are doing the automation testing of it, right? Once you're just about to finish, you will receive another one. So basically there is a lag, right? Because very frequently you are getting released from the development team, and it's very difficult to every time you should keep up to date with the automation script. So there is a lag always. The resource constraint, the automation is script or automation testing also needs the technical expertise in different aspect, right? For the writing it or to maintain it, And maybe if you want to connect to the database, you should know that how to connect and all, right? So that's a problem, resource constraint and the maintenance burden. The day by day you work on the applications, your test cases gradually increased, and at one point of time, you will have hundreds of test cases or maybe thousands of test cases. And every time you have to maintain it. Whenever you receive a release from the development team, there is a possibility that maybe hundreds of test cases is getting impacted, and you have to, visit each and every test case by yourself and fix the problem. That's a big challenge, and it's very difficult, to maintain such a huge application in agile era. And because of all these three, major cap issues, there's a high chances that you will have a high defect in your products, right? So basically, true test is helping you to resolve all these four major challenges. So true test is basically AI augmented solution that turns true user interactions into actionable insight and self-maintained automation tests. Right? This line itself defining what is true test. So true test is basically can capture the user interaction happening, through the user in the application, right? And on the basis of all those interactions, it analyzed that what all the different scenarios and use cases should be there, and accordingly generate the test cases for you, right? So actually, you are not writing anything else by yourself. The test case which is generated by true test will be also maintained by true test. So you also no need to worry that when you are receiving a new release from the development team, you have to maintain it. True test will automatically maintain that itself. It will identify what changes has happened and where the fix is needed, and it will get fixed automatically, right? So basically, it accelerate your automation from manual testing. So when you perform the manual testing, true test will analyze all the manual activities happening in the application, and accordingly, it will compile of all of them, and it will generate the journey map and the test artifacts. So when I say manual testing, it means let's take an example that you have an ERP system and you have to do automation testing of your lead module. And lead module could have a different sub modules. For example, you maybe lead creation, deletion, updation, modification, rejection, and all that. And you have to write the test cases, including failure and success cases of each and everything, right? So when you're using true test, what you need to do, you just have to go through the complete lead module. You just have to perform the complete end-to-end life cycle. That's it. Now true test will automatically identify the use cases, and it will create the journey map and test cases for you with the help of all those artifacts. As I say that the test cases generated by true test will be also maintained by true test. So it basically eliminate the automation maintenance. So it won't bother you to maintain your automation script. Test itself maintain it, right? And the third very major capability is, as I said, uh, artificial intelligence can analyze your application on the basis of the interactions, right? So it can also understand the gaps between your different environments. So let's think, in the current era, whenever you are doing testing of any application, when your application is in QA phase, right? And during QA phase, when you have done with it, you have completed it and it is success, and now application has deployed in your production, right? Now in production, still we are getting some problem, some errors that were actually missed during our QA phase. It means actually we really don't know exactly that what all the different use cases performed by the real time user. So remember, we talk about the true user interactions. So whenever application is in production, you will get to know that how your actual user is using the application, right? How they're actually navigating through the application. What are the major module and function which has a more traffic, right? And that should be more mature accordingly. So when you enable your true test can analyze the gaps between your QA and your production, right? So suppose you have already covered some set of scenarios in QA, and now it is in production. It is analyzing those differences, and it will tell you that you have missed all these test cases. So maybe if you have missed 20 different test cases that was performed through the user, you can see that gap, and in just one click you can adapt all those missing scenarios in your automation project. So basically it is filling the gaps automatically. So next time when your application is in production, it will be fully ready, right? And you will not get such error again, and you don't need to recreate such scenario by yourself. So let's talk about some use cases. The first use case, as we already discussed, it basically automate your application through the manual testing. So whenever you are performing manual testing, it generate the automation script. Now the second major use case is the migration case. So for example, if you are using any XYZ tool, let's take an example. If you are using Tricentis, right, Tosca, and you have already 100,000, maybe 5,000 test cases created, right? And now you want to use Katalon. So you have to migrate your test cases. There is no way to migrate, Tosca to Katalon or any other platform, because Tosca is basically a closed environment, right? So if you have to rewrite all those 5,000 test cases by yourself, it might take a couple of months or maybe more than a year, right? To analyze all the scenarios, because any test case doesn't have just the step flow. It has custom logic as well, that how you are validating the application, what are the different factors, what are the different assertions and conditions, all that. It will take time. But with the help of TrueTest, you can migrate all those 5,000 test cases within a couple of hours, right? So how you need to do? You just need to configure the same application in TrueTest and run the Tosca, test cases. When Tosca is running the automation script, TrueTest will analyze all the execution happening through Tosca. See how cool is that? And when Tosca finish, Catalan will also finish with the analysis, and it will generate the complete end-to-end project for you, right? That you can open with the Catalan Studio and start using it. So it's very interesting test case. The test case, how it works, we will see that in practical. So suppose you have gone through maybe 5 different module of your application, right? And you want to see that what has happened when you were performing these, activities. You want to see that. True test will generate the visual journey map where you can see that how a user, any user, either the internal user or your tester or developer, maybe the real user, are interacting with your application. You can see that, visually, all the navigation. You can see that through the traffic, that in which navigation having a more traffic, right? And for each and every flow and navigation, you can see that suggested test flow, that what are the different test flow can fulfill this scenario, right? So as I said, lead module, you will be able to see that lead module having what all the, navigation that is following through the user, and what all the test flows that can fulfill all those navigations. And as we just discussed, the gap analysis, it eliminates the gaps between your QA, your testing environment, and your production, right? So you no need to identify all of these by yourself again and again. Let's have a look into the true test. So this is our test ops environment, and this is one of the application we have configured in true test. So currently we have 2 different environments for the same application, QA and production, right? So we have also configured our QA product in true test and our production product true test. So you can see the different URL is there, right? It is reading the interactions of all these 3 different 2 different environment. And here you can see you can generate the journey map. So suppose you have already performed the manual testing for past 3 days, and now you want to generate the journey map with all those 3 days data. So you can just simply click on this generate journey map. You can select the environment, choose the time and even the custom date and time, and just generate it. Once you're done with the generation, you can just click on this, and you will be able to see the, visual graphic of your journey map, that how your user has navigated through the application. And these all are the navigation are involved. If you click on this, see the traffic data, you can see this has a high volume of traffic. It means the user is mostly using this flow. It is a more useful flow for the application. And then you can see there is some flow is going to this employee view list. And in left hand side, you can see a couple of test flow has suggested by true test. where you can see this is one of the test flow, verify user login functionality. And in the below, you can see the steps, that what steps user has performed to fulfill the login, and the same steps will be in your automation test case. So you simply need to just click on create button, and it will generate the test case. In my case, I have already generated it, so it is showing me like that. Let me open anyone which has not yet generated this one. So here you see, you can see the generate test case button. So when you click on generate, it will generate the automation script for you. All right. And it has generated almost 7 different flows that you can navigate through. Now let me open this test flow. So these are the different test flows. You can see the name, update employee contact details, and verify homepage. And this is the actual steps to fulfill this scenario, right? These all have been generated by TrueTest while analyzing those data, when you were performing the manual testing in the application, right? So if you need to validate it by yourself, and if you feel that this is really exact flow that you want to see, you can just simply go and create the test case. And TrueTest will also identify that whether this test case is stable or not. It will see when you execute, it will see whether it has a lot of flakiness, whether it has some, flaky nature, like sometimes there is success, sometimes there is failure and all that. And accordingly, it will say that it is stable and there is no changes required. All right. And so once you're done with it, you can execute it many, many times, and you can see the dashboard here with different KPIs. So it generates a very nice data after execution, where you can see that what are the rate of failures, what are the passing rate, what all the environment we have used for the execution, including maybe if you have used Linux or Mac OS, or maybe uh, Windows application. You can see that how your application is stable in different environment. For example, we have executed it in Mac with Chrome version 4.14, and there was total 11 execution. It says the coverage rate is 45% overall execution. Seems quite good, but with Chrome version 144, it is not that much stable. It has only 20%. So it means you can accordingly raise the defect to the development team that application is not acting well in this version of browser. So please have a look into it, right? And accordingly, you can see a lot of KPIs. You can simply ask to artificial intelligence as well to summarize it, so that you can share the summary with your testing director or your Scrum master, right? So these are the major capability of it, and I would really appreciate all of you. Maybe if we can connect post our webinar, you can just make a request to me or Pankaj or Sasan or Tracy, so that we can have a detailed demo where we can go through each and every capability one by one in deep, and to to help you out in in different queries that you had in your mind. I would like to hand it over to Pankaj, and please feel free to put your question in Q&A or chat section. So during the Q&A phase, we will help you to answer it. Yeah, Pankaj, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mehtab. I think the time is limited. Otherwise, I know like you wanted to go more.
Yeah, I was very fast. That's why.
I know. I mean, yeah, this is a time constraint, but I believe that everyone here in this call, they might have got some idea that what is True Test and how Katalon is enabling their capabilities, with especially with AI like Studio Assist and True Test. And it is brilliant to see that so many capabilities from the True Test side, where you are able to differentiate with the browsers, like how much time it is taking in that browser, and automatic test case creation and all. So that is going to be a next step in the QA industry, I believe. Yeah. So just to continue with the discussion, I just want to share a few things from my side. If you can see my screen, let me just share my screen for a while. Okay, all right. can see. All right. Okay. So from the school question side, we have our automation expertise along with Katalon, where we are pitching into web browser, mobile, desktop, APIs, mainframes, and any database testing, along with all the industries that we have covered: banking, insurance, oil, gas, finance, telecommunication, retail, healthcare, OTT, and all medias. So we are pitching our our steps into all over the world and all over the industries where we have more than as I said, like more than 120 30 people who are expert there, and we are continuously delivering our project in terms of automation, especially with the Katalon, and we are utilizing the capabilities specifically for studio assist and for the true test. Some POCs we have done before. So still it is into the market, coming into the market, so probably you will be having more idea once it is full fledged. Okay, all right. So apart from this, I would say that some success stories from leading banking in Malaysia. So what we saw that the problem statement was because there are multiple application, 10 plus, 20 plus application, and since this is the compliance project, and then you need to strictly follow the compliance requirement and tight schedules. So what is happening is like all multiple applications are going on, and then they are having compliance challenges, and also how before Catalan they were using manual process and execution was taking, you can see that execution will take more than 1 month sometimes, like for if you're going for like 5,000 4,000 test cases. So that was something, it was delaying the basically the product quality, also the releases. So after implementing Catalan, we were focusing on the security compliance in terms of if we are using any API, then we are using the right authentication, we are following that, and we are following the compliance with the risk assessment, which we are already doing before onboarding the tool there. So with the help of that, along with what just now Mehtab said, there's some self-healing concept is the brilliant feature, I would say, into Catalan, where that enables you that even though some frequent changes are there in your application, it can take another, basically the parent, child, or neighbor element, and then it can identify that particular element. So your script will not fail, even though in the report you will be knowing that it is being done by self-healing, so maybe next time you can correct it, but at that moment your script will not fail, it will continue. So that will reduce your time of the maintenance, along with the basically the speed of the time, it is increasing, you are developing and you are releasing on the time. So after Catalan, basically we were able to finish our testing 30% faster, and not much critical incidents. I mean, zero critical incidents, basically, I would say. And the real time compliance reporting at the end, you are having a very fine reporting. You can utilize your test ops features where you can have a flaky test, and then like for which are the main areas where you are having major failures. So you can identify with the flaky test there in the basically in the test ops. You can see that how many browsers you are running, and then which browser is taking which much how much time, and all those things. So that's a excellent reporting being developed in Catalan with the help of the test tubes. And productivity is double with the saving the cost. So I'll talk about the cost. So where I discussed that there was a costing involved earlier for the manual testing, and also the impact of costing is that if you are going to spend some money on your tool and a right expert person, so that is going to cost for a time being for you, let's say for 2 months 3 months, when they are developing the testing and then they are going with automation test scripts. But if you think about the long perspective, the long one, where you are developing your regression suite, every time when you are running in your sprint, your regression is incremental. So when your regression is incremental there, at the end of year, you will realize that you have developed almost 1,000 test cases and the regression. And how long it is taking? It is taking almost 2 hours. That's it. So think about it. If you are continuously doing that regression, first thing is challenge is you will not be able to increment the regression scope. Second will be who will be going to run it. Again, you will need additional resources, whether those will be manual and all. So ultimately, it is going to be more costly. So that's why it's something, when you onboard it, it will look a bit costly, but at the end, when you go on the long term, on the product quality, releasing on time, it is going to benefit you in terms of the return over the investment. So, yeah, so that's all about today's session, which we have delivered. And thank you so much, Mehta, once again, for giving thorough insights about to test and the capabilities. So we will open up our session because We have 10-15 minutes left only, so we'll open our session. Let's talk about your testing challenges. So, any questions which we have received so far? Let me see. Okay, let me have a look on the questions. Yeah, okay. So from Veera, I think Mahtab has already replied. Yes, all-in-one testing solution is there because, as I said before, Katalon is a tool where you will see that all type of platform can be automated. If it's a desktop, you want to communicate to the desktop to API, then from web and all, you can interact anytime. This is the what is the major benefit we would say. So recently, we have seen one application where we were having one SAP application backend, basically the desktop application. Then we wanted to interact with the CRM web application there. So from there, actually, you can easily navigate, you can easily integrate, and at the end, you will have all the layers of the testing. Okay, we got one more question. How can test automation be integrated fast-paced development cycle where manual test cannot keep up? Okay. Thank you so much, Kuldeep, for asking this question. So I believe this is the biggest challenge which we are facing in the industry nowadays. I have experienced there are many tools, basically they call it low code development tools, where you can develop your features very fast. Okay. And at the end, what happens that even your manual testing team is not able to cope up with the speed of that particular testing. So here, if you are using Katalon, so let's say you have used Katalon. So there are multiple ways where you can utilize the capability. So we call it like in general term, we call it a shift left method and approach. So shift left is something that whenever your user story is there, let's say I'm talking about the agile perspective, it can be fitted into your waterfall also, but most of the companies, organizations now they are using agile. So I'll take an example of agile itself. So in agile, let's say you are going in a sprint and then you know that there are some basically user stories have been defined, acceptance criteria is there that you are going to develop some test cases. Initial 2-3 days will be there for developer also to develop those features, for testers also to develop the test cases. What if you utilize the studio assist at that moment and you create your test cases basically with the studio assist. Let's say you know that you are going to log in, you have seen the application Figma, basically UI UX design, you have seen that, right? So what you can do is you can utilize those features, then you can create your automated test cases, and then you can have a suite. And by the time application is there, you just need to tweak a bit in terms of maybe some objects that you need to tweak before, because where the objects are coming, then only you will be knowing that what are the properties that you are going to use. If your development team is that much supportive that they can give you some functional specs about the application, you can take the basically like those IDs and XPaths from there itself before it is getting developed. I'm not saying that 100% it will work, but you can use at least 80%, you can leverage 80% of your scope at that moment. And by the time when application is available, immediately you can run your test script and you will be able to do the automation. That is the first method. Second method is we have like in skill quotient, we are having our AutoForce framework. So what we are going to do, we follow the page object model. So in that, you can define your test cases basically on the page object model before it is going to the production or in the staging environment for you to see it in the application. So you can divide your models in small, basically in the keywords. You can create your keywords, and let's say you know that you are going to open this application, you are going to edit something, you're going to add some fields there, text box is there. So you can define your flows. So we already have our framework where each and small thing like where is the drop down, how it will work. It will work for any type of object. How your text box is going to be fulfilled, it will be going to work there. So likewise, you are having all your methods already predefined, basically your custom keywords already defined. By the time the application is there, either you can directly fit those objects into your file, or you can follow the data driven approach as well, where you can parameterize your objects while creating, and you can use the parameters inside your Excel. And when Excel is being uploaded in the Excel, you can put the this is the object XPath, this is the object XPath for the second, third, and immediately you can import it there and you can start running. So instead of wasting your time when application is there in the staging environment and you start developing, instead of that, you can have something to be prepared. At least skeleton is there. You just need to fill up all the things when it is ready. So this is how, I mean, you can leverage on Katalon with, because it has many capabilities that you can go free there. Okay. So next question is okay. Let me see, where is the next question. Okay. Can Catalan Studio automatically update the locators when the application UI changes? So the locator wise, basically we have a self healing, as I explained earlier. Self healing feature is already available there. So in that, even though your locator is changed, you will be able to, basically the Catalan will be able to identify which is the nearest object. Based on that, what object you are looking for, what object, on which object you are going to perform any action. So with the help of self healing is the best advantage from Catalan, I would say, that will leverage, and then later you will get to know, and then if there is any changes, you can make those changes accordingly. Otherwise your test case will not fail, right? Then we are having one more question, I think. Mehtab, oh yeah, you have already answered to that, thank you. Okay, Mehtab, this question I'll read out to you. How does TrueTest use real user data to assist in the regression test scoping?
Yes, Julia. So basically, true test can capture the real user interactions, right? So what it captures, it doesn't capture the data that you are filling in the application. It captures the actions and objects, and accordingly, it basically analyze the use cases. So suppose you have generated the test cases through TrueTest, and now you're ready to execute it either for regression or some other use case. You have to put your data in Catalan Studio, as we discussed. You can connect to any sources like Excel file or CSV or actual database. Maybe you can create all your own data. So how it works? So suppose if you have already created one test case and that has one page and page has 10 different fields, right? So when you perform it, True Test will generate the placeholder that where you have to bind your data basically, right? So if it has username, user password, maybe first name, last name, email ID, and all that, you will have it will generate all the local variables. It will add all those local variables in your test cases. So what later on you have to do when you import your Excel file in Catalan Studio, you can allocate the column value with the variables, right? So actually, it is 80% production ready. You just have to plug and play your test cases, and through that you can perform the regression testing, smoke testing, performance testing depends on the use cases. Next question is how does Catalan handles edge cases or exploitative testing that a human tester might catch? See, this is a very interesting question. I would like to
Yeah,
say,
yes.
yeah. So when we say edge cases, no automation tool can capture it, right? You have to define your own ways. How? Let's take an example. For example, if I give you a hypothetical scenario for any application, if it happens, for example, your application is connected to database, but at that point of time, database was not available, right? How you're going to handle that? Of course, you cannot handle it, right? So depends on the custom logic in Catalan Studio how you can handle it. You can write your own custom script to and use those custom script your normal test cases to identify the scenario and accordingly act. So in Catalan, there isn't any native of capability or feature to write the edge cases, but of course you can handle it because Catalan gives you that capability to write the custom script, enhance your automation project. So you can definitely handle it.
Yeah, just to add on to this, Mehtab, so we know that AI is something which you cannot say that AI is going to take your job, right? Completely, 100%. But if you imagine that a perfect QA with AI capabilities is the deadly combination, right? So where we can use this in a way where the basically exploratory testing. So you can explore the true test basically, where you just go in a free flow. You just go with any of the flows, however you want to go into the application, explore, go for the tree, basically the branches, branch to branch. You can go till end of the your any kind of flow, and it is going to capture there ultimately along with it, because some visual testing concepts are also there in Catalan basically, so we couldn't cover in here, but there's a visual testing also available. So that is going to be like your business impactful, because sometimes what happens, like you see some logos are there, but maybe their text has been changed or their pixels have been changed, which of course in the automation script you are not able to identify that. So you can leverage on your visual testing there. So from there, you the business impact. So basically, this is where the exploratory testing can be fulfilled with the help of true test and also the visual testing, I would say.
For failure compared to manual testing. Uh, can you please elaborate a little more what I understand with this question? How does Catalan reports failures compared to manual testing? Yeah. So I mean, failure could have a different way, right? So whenever you are running your application, and if forcefully created, you have created a failure test case, for example, right? And that is happening, and you want to just report that to the development team. When you have already integrated your LM tool like Jira, you can simply raise the defect from there, right? And when you're raising the defect, it will combine all the related information, including the debug logs, including the point exactly where the failure has happened. Everything will be set to the development team in the ticket itself, so that the team can take it up, accordingly. Now, in manual test cases also, that is supported in Katalon desktops. So in one place, you can see, the result of automation and manual both, basically. I hope that I answered your question, but if you can elaborate a little more, I can give you. Definitely. Documentation will be shared to everyone post meeting. We have your email ID, so we will create a set of details where you can you can explore later on, including our academy, Catalan University, our knowledge base, and our free courses that you can go through to learn how you can use the Catalan AI capability, how you can use Catalan for web API and mobile testing, everything. So maybe post meeting, Pankaj, we need to share all these details with all the
Yes.
parties. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, sure. So yeah, so add on to that, that what I think Veera has asked about the failure comparison, right? Manual testing document. So of course, like we have our test ops, and test ops is the one where you can see, as I mentioned earlier, also flaky test, your failure reports, like which test is getting failure, which is the most common failure test case in your overall test suite of regression. This is the test case which is getting failed again and then because of so reasons. And apart from that, in terms of the logging a bug, you can have an integration, you can utilize the integration capabilities of Katalon with, let's say, Azure, if and you can define the rules in the test ops where anything is getting failed automatically logs a bug. So it is going to help the manual activities also, in terms of when you are going to log a bug, you see the report and then you have to log a bug, it automatically logs a bug. And then other features like power automate and all you can use if you want to enable the email notifications and all, which can be done as well. So of course, I mean, it is going to be more beneficial when you're going to use it. All right. Okay, thanks, Ashank, for informing us. So, if you have more questions, I think the link has been shared earlier with Shashank and team. So you can please share your thoughts throughout that link, and also if you would like to see some demo for any kind of automation capabilities, AI Studio Assist or the True Test and all, please let us know. Fill this form. You can contact us anytime. We will be more than happy to answer your questions and also to give you a demo whenever you need, right? And we believe that after this session, many requests are going to come because this is a booming feature which is going on now with the Catalan, and you can utilize very cost effectively. Mehtab, anything you want to just say
No,
to it?
thank you so much, Pankaj. That sounds good.
All right. Okay, so once again, I would like to thank everyone, and especially from Malaysia, Singapore, and also I see that some people have joined from India, and it is your lunchtime. I'm really glad that you found the time and you joined this session, and we are looking forward to more businesses from your side. And thank you so much. We wrap up this session today, and thanks a lot, Mehtab, again for giving this insightful session, and for our lovely audience, thank you so much.